Connolly.
Mil mágad a caithfidh agus banna mar ceist le cuasaí Tithíocht ingáile, lís cirta rá aspa Tithíocht ingáile agus an task force a bunú breis ceithre bliain ó shin, níl tosná túras gur an túrascáil, níl aon túrascáil feici agan fós. And my question relates to the task force because of the housing crisis in Galway, on equal footing with Dublin, unfortunately. A task force is set up. We've heard nothing. Other letters, brief letters, no report from a task force 4 years later. Thank you.
Minister. Thanks, Deputy Connolly. I'm well aware it's a matter you have raised and consistently. So I wish to advise you that I have received the report from the chair of the Galway Task Force covering social housing related issues over the period of 2021 to 2022. Once I have completed a review, and Minister O'Brien has completed a review in consultation with obviously officials, we'll arrange for a copy of the report to be sent to you, Deputy Connolly, and any consultations. Obviously, we'll have to consult with the members of the task force as well prior to any forwarding the report to your good self. And I want to, I suppose, acknowledge the work and efforts made by all members of the task force members to work together to respond to the challenge and drive responses to delivery of public housing in Galway. The Chair is taking on this role on a pro bono basis, having undertaken a similar role for the Cork Social Housing Task Force, where there was a focus on enhancing cooperation with the two councils and other partners. The Cork Task Force saw social housing delivery markedly improved, and my intention is that the same drive will continue towards a similar outcome in Galway. You will appreciate there is no single easy solution to the range of challenges, in particular in the period covered by the Chair's latest report. There was major and worldwide disruption to construction following from COVID, with some temporary site closures, supply chain difficulties, construction inflation, labour and skills shortages, and impacts of the Ukraine war. Task Force has given the Galway councils and the delivery partners a valuable opportunity to assist each other through those challenges. Building on that and driving further delivery solutions is where I want the Task Force focus to be for the next year, and I know we can count on support of public representatives in their work too. So, in summary, Deputy Connolly, we have received the report. We're giving it due consideration. We'll obviously be engaging with members of the task force, and once we've had an opportunity to do that work, we certainly will forward on a copy of the report, and we'll welcome our observations and say.
We have a report, and after that, clarity left the room, because there's going to be further negotiation. You're going to go back to the task force. When am I going to see a copy of that? The purpose of the task force was to analyse the problem in Galway. Let me read from the last minutes of the task force, where the emergency accommodation is non-existent. Services are under extreme pressure, and there is currently a waiting list for services. This is homelessness, ministers. Waiting list. No, I have 30 seconds left. I'll try and get as much out as I can in that time. Okay, rents are rising, 19%, Galway's average rents, 19.4%, no homeless services, a task force that hasn't reported, a report that's there now. When am I going to see that? Has an analysis been done? They're behind their targets. The task force acknowledged that. They're behind their targets for social housing. And I'm looking here at rents rising. Simon Communities telling us there's no availability under HAP. And you're telling me I'm going to get a report sometime in the future. And you cite Cork. Was a report produced for Cork? Was a report produced under the task force in Cork?
I can't answer that, Deputy. I certainly will clarify that point. On the Galway issue, you brought this up recently in the House and you asked for the report would be published. We've got a report which we've just received. You'll appreciate, Deputy Connolly, right? You'll appreciate that we need to give it proper due consideration. We've just received it. We're going to go through it in depth. Minister O'Brien met with Simon in Galway last week. It's something last month. It's just this Monday. It's something we're very conscious of. But I think it is important that if we get a report, that we give it due consideration at both ministerial and department level. Once we've gone through the report, and we've just received it, and it was hugely important to us that we'd have that report for you here today. Once we'll get this to you as quickly as possible, but you will appreciate, Deputy, we have to go through it forensically ourselves as a department. Part of that will involve us engaging with the task force, the chair and the members, and then we will get the report to you as quickly as possible, and we would then very much welcome your observations and comments on same.
Thank you, Deputy.
Recently, I've raised it consistently since the task force was set up. Yeah. A task force was set up because of a housing emergency, and I appreciate your efforts in getting the report, but I would appreciate your comments on how it has taken this long to get a task force to produce a report. In a city where the rents are rising, I'm after quoting 19.4%, where the homeless services are non-existent, and where we have a waiting list of over 4,000 households and people on a waiting list 10, 12 years. In addition, we have the docks doing their own thing, Can Station doing their own thing, the Land Development Agency doing something else. We are now hearing that the docks area will produce a master plan sometime in the future, and it will be primarily 4 blocks of affordable housing. In a city that's crying out for public housing, no master plan. We have no master plan in the city. Can you believe that? Each area is doing its own thing. So the task force, I would have thought, would have analysed and highlighted the issues, brought it back to you years ago and said, look, Minister, this is the problem here. What are we going to do?
Thank you, Deputy.
Deputy Connolly, when you brought this up previously, I undertook till we get the report. We have a report now. We have a working document. I think it's not fair to say housing delivery has taken place, social in Galway. We'd obviously like to see a lot more. We appreciate, but it's not as if there hasn't been any. In 2021, Galway City delivered 129, Galway County 117. In 2022, we saw an improvement. Galway City delivered 150 and Galway County delivered 224. We have a document. I think we should deal with what we have now. We will give it active, urgent consideration. We will engage with the task force, and we will give you a copy of the report as quickly as possible, and then we will engage with you on it. We're all on the same page here, and we have to, in my view, look at what's the current situation. And, you know, we have a lot of talk about the past. I'm interested in the current and in the future. We have a report. We're going to give it really detailed, a detailed report, and we will then forward a copy of that report to you once we've given it what, and you'd appreciate in your own deliberations. It's important that we act and that we are seen to give everything that's recorded and requested in the report active consideration now.